such one of those movies that you really need to experience because while it might seem heavy, while it might seem like a lot to handle, I think because it feels so relatable and you can always pick a moment from this movie that you've experienced, it never feels like it brings you down with it. It kind of just keeps you
Right.
at a place where you're like I watched it and when it was done, I was like, I felt good. Hello and welcome to the movie podcast at Tiff. Today we are reviewing Raymond and Ray. This is an Apple TV Plus movie, and we're gonna get all into it. And we're at Tiff right now. I'm joined by the man. You know what, Daniel? I just said your name, but I was just trying to say like this movie's about two brothers, right?
Right.
And we're two brothers.
We are.
And Anthony is kind of like the forgotten brother, like the ugly stepchild.
Right.
Is this true? Am I saying anything mean yet?
No, so we're talking about Raymond and Ray, or Ray and Raymond.
Raymond and Ray.
Raymond and Ray. Raymond and Ray.
Now you're giving me a tongue twister, I believe.
Yeah. We're talking about Raymond and Ray. Anthony could be the ant.
Sorry, he could be the and or the ant. Which one did you say?
The and, like the ampersand. Yeah.
I know, but that almost holds them together if you think about it. That's like the glue.
Yeah, it's true. Anthony's not the glue.
Yeah.
He's the
he's the period that they sometimes put at the end of the sentence.
Right. Oh no. No.
It's okay. He'll never listen to this, so he'll never know
It's true.
all the horrible things you said about him today.
He's not editing this video. He won't see this at all.
No, he just starts at one point and ends at another point.
Yeah, hopefully they made no mistakes throughout the entire review. They'll be okay.
I'm just gonna hit publish.
How you doing though, Shay?
I'm doing great. You know, we're like I mentioned in the beginning, we're at Tiff. We're watching a lot of great movies, and I feel like the craziness hasn't started yet. I feel like our toes are just being kind of dipped in the water of Tiff.
Right.
So I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous for how crazy it's gonna get. What about yourself?
No, I'm doing great. TIFF is such a fun time of the year. I'm a big, as much as I love the summer, I mean, technically September is still summer, but I love September as a month just because so much happens during it. TIFF, obviously, we have D23 happening. We have the Lord of the Rings of Power happening. There's so much going on this month. And then we're leading right into spooky season with October. So we're in it. And then we have 4 months left of the year somehow. And then we do it all again next year. It's just been, what a whirlwind of a summer it's been, and to be kind of ending the summer off with TIFF, which is like some of the busiest times of the year. It's a lot of fun though. It's great to be.
What a year it's been for us here on the show as well. Like we've made a lot of great strides. We've done a lot of great things, and I think that for everyone that's still listening to us, thank you, and everyone who's started listening to us, even bigger thank you. Hopefully you stick around and keep enjoying what we're doing here.
I always think, every episode we go into, I always like to think of it this could be somebody's first episode of the movie podcast, right?
That's why we hope it's this one too, because it's Anthony free.
It's just interesting. I'm like, this could be somebody's first episode of the movie podcast. Us talking about Raymond and Ray could be somebody's entry into the rest of the madness that is the movie podcast. So if this is your first episode, if you are just finding our episodes through TIFF, thank you for being here. We love that you're here. And there's lots of incredible ways that you can engage with our show and, keep this conversation going.
You're absolutely right. So welcome once again. And here's some information for the new people that is going to be really helpful. And for all you old timers out there, this one's a classic. So as always,
the old fans of the show,
the old fans, like the OGs, you can sing along to these words right now. Cause as always, you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday, and watch out throughout the week for our review episodes on all the latest movies and series. And make sure to follow us at the Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd. Don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube, because we're on YouTube as well. And we're having some great conversations on Discord. We also have a channel set up just for TIFF. So if you're at TIFF, you want to know things about TIFF, join us on Discord. We're talking about TIFF right now. It's TIFF season. We're talking about House of Dragons, Rings of Power, She-Hulk, whatever shows you guys want to talk about. Come on, join us at Discord. And you can email us at hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca and subscribe to us on YouTube. All those links and more are available in the show notes down below. The movie again that we're talking about today is Raymond and Ray, and it's directed by Rodrigo Garcia, and it stars Ethan Hawke and Ewan McGregor. And the story is about an intricate drama shot through with audacious gallus humor. The latest from writer-director Rodrigo Garcia stars Ewan McGregor and Ethan Hawke as long-estranged half-brothers who reunite to bury their father. Daniel, give us your first reactions to the Raymond and Ray.
We typically say here on the show that Apple TV Plus has some of the strongest, the strongest lineups of movies and shows coming out. And this year at TIFF, they have a lot of films. There are a lot of films coming out from Apple TV Plus at TIFF this year, and it's amazing to see that. Obviously, we have Raymond and Ray, we have Gutsy, Causeway, The Greatest Beer Run Ever, and Sydney, the Oprah Winfrey one. There are a lot of films coming out at TIFF, and it's amazing to see that a streamer with such a small time, out in the world has already won a Best Picture. It's crazy. I think Apple is just choosing the right projects. And my first reaction to Raymond and Ray was that this is another winner for them. This is just this is a great story. This is a tale of two brothers dealing with the loss of their father, who they didn't particularly even love, but they had to come together and to bury him, and not just to bury him, but to go through all of his, the stipulations that they had that the father had to bury them. And there's a lot of moments in this movie that I was just getting very moved, and my eyes were starting to well. And first and foremost, I have to say that the performance of Ethan Hawke in this film, as always, he is just so damn good. He is so incredible at just being that everyman, bringing you down to your base sense of just life and morality. He has this way of just seeing things differently, and he's it's funny because he plays the trumpet in this film, and I'm like, Ethan Hawke looks like a guy who plays the trumpet. You know what I mean? Like it looks like that. And this movie deals with a lot of loss and just difficult situations that we deal with in life, but in movies are often either brushed over or they're made to feel more cinematic, where this movie feels very real. It feels very grounded. This movie is literally a very simple story about these brothers coming together, and they have to deal with the funeral of their father, and then, kind of everything that comes with that. And there's things that you see in it that are just so kind of harrowingly just real and just unfiltered. And there's a moment in this film where they're going to the viewing of their father, and they know his father was not a very well liked person. So the funeral home is like, we have seat fillers who come in because people are sometimes worried or scared if they're the first ones there, they won't come in. And they just had people who were just sitting there and being part of that. And this movie has just very long takes as well too, so it could feel almost like a stage play at some points, especially the way Ewan McGregor and Ethan Hawke kind of play off one another. But I know I've been going on a long time here, but I did really enjoy this film, and this film just kind of grounded you in a way that not a lot of movies do. And we've been watching a lot of different films and shows over the last couple weeks. Some are very fantastical, some are just very out there and just mind-spinningly weird, where this is just a simple human story, and that's what I love so much about it.
Yeah, I think you touched on a lot of great points there, Daniel, about just how grounded in reality this film is. And I think that's kind of what I loved the most about it, was the fact that it felt like something that we could just experience in our lives. And I think we've both gone through loss very close to each other's when it happened, and I think we felt that element of okay, this is okay, sorry, I'm rambling here.
No, and that's the thing. That's the thing. I felt like I was too, but we're just talking about it, and that's what I really like.
And I think with this movie, one of the things that I really liked was it kind of, and I use this very, very very, very lightly here, it reminded me a little bit of Darjeeling Limited by Wes Anderson, in the sense that
Yeah.
he had the story about these brothers who were kind of on this journey. While their journey in Raymond and Ray isn't really that big, but it's that self discovery that you kind of love. And I think the performances, like again, of Ethan Hawke, he absolutely just crushed me, because when he played that trumpet, it was a separate instrument that he was just kind of like playing through that. It was like a vessel of emotions that he kind of played with us, and
Yeah. That was his
absolutely,
monologue.
yeah, it
Like
was
that
exactly
was a
it.
monologue, but it
Like
was but him playing music.
it absolutely crushed me. And then you have Maribel Verdú, who plays this interesting character. Again, I don't know how spoilery we kind of want to get here, but she's linked to these two brothers in a way that becomes very interesting, and it moves the story in very different places. And I think you and I kept saying to each other, like, oh, is this what's going to happen next year, or this? And again, it's not one of those kind of movies, but because you can place yourself in these characters, you kind of start to make the decisions for them, and you kind of start to say, well, what would I do in this scenario, and what would happen here? And that's what I kind of walked away with. I think when it comes to Ewan McGregor, he's fantastic, and we love Ewan so much. But I'm not sure if his performance was the one that was keeping me the most engaged. I did love seeing him. I did love his interactions and in the certain moments that he was in. But it was Ethan Hawke for me that really, he kept me in my seat. He kept me wondering what's going to happen next. And there's moments where I wasn't sure if I was supposed to laugh in this movie, because
Yeah.
they take such a lighter tone at some points, that it's this dark kind of comedy. It reminded me of a lot of some of the best funeral related movies that kind of take the awful experience that you're kind of going through, but they give it that air that it needs to breathe within. And I think that's
Right.
what I really, really enjoyed about this.
And this is like this the official term for this type of humor is called gallows humor. And it's like a grim but ironic humor in desperate or hopeless situations. And there's some really dark moments in this film that you're just like, "Oh wow, like this is, this is what this movie's dealing with right now." And we're going to these dark places that, you know, one moment we could be kind of laughing and having a good time and, you know, dealing with this, and then next moment changes instantly. And I think that just felt so fitting for a movie about this, because when you're going through when you're grieving after a death, there are moments like that. And I remember, this movie brought me back to a couple years ago when my grandfather passed away. um there are moments when people are coming to you and sharing a funny story and you laugh, and then the next person you talk to just makes you bawl your eyes out. And this movie, kind of balances that line of, this is real life, this is something that's happening, but we also did not like the person that we're burying, but you still need to go through this process. And you still need to go through this, and you still need to grieve, because no matter, at the end of all of it, it's your father. You need to be part of that, right? And I think that's what this movie really balances well, is that line of, this is a drama, but there's also lighthearted moments of it. And I think Ewan and especially Ethan Hawke balance that really well. I think Ewan, yeah, like you said, Shay, he's great in everything. We love him. But I think Ethan Hawke's performance was so strong in this that it kind of um, overshadowed the the other brother.
Yeah, absolutely. There's I know that we're trying to avoid giving like the details about this film, but I think this is also such one of those movies that you really need to experience, because while it might seem heavy, while it might seem like a lot to handle, I think because it feels so relatable, and you can always pick a moment from this movie that you've experienced, it never feels like it brings you down with it. It kind of just keeps you
Right.
at a place where you're like I watched it, and when it was done, I was like, I felt good. And again, that
Yeah.
is the beauty of Apple TV Plus as well. They seem to pick these projects that never really ruin your day. They seem to just kind of like be a part of that experience, and you kind of go
Yeah.
along with it. So
It's
yeah,
human.
it was very human, it's very real, and just what a great time it was. And again, here on the
Yeah.
movie podcast during TIFF, we're not giving you any final recommendations. We're just telling you what we thought of these movies and how our experience kind of went with them. But if you got a chance to watch Raymond and Ray, which will premiere globally on Apple TV Plus on October 21st, and have its debut gala presentation at TIFF at the Roy Thomson Hall on September 12th, 2022, this year basically, let us know if you watched it, or you're a big Ethan Hawke and Ewan McGregor fan, and you thought this is going to be a Star Wars kind of movie. You're absolutely wrong. It's not actually that at all.
He's actually Ethan Hawke, who's just reprising his role from Moon Knight as well.
It's true.
This is the prequel.
That's true.
This is the prequel. Yeah.
It's just one big Marvel, cinematic film right here. It is not a sequel or spirited sequel to Everybody Loves Raymond, which I thought it would have something to do with it.
I thought it was going into it. I'll be honest with you. I'm like, where is Ray Romano? And he was just like, Deborah. No, it wasn't.
Where's Brad Garrett's deep voice? I really wanted to hear it. But do you have any final things you kind of want to say about Raymond and Ray?
Yeah, honestly,
Daniel.
I think, like we said, this is just a film that you go and you experience it. Like, this is like one of those there's these movies that I remember just like growing up Sunday afternoon being on TV and you watch it. Like, this is what this movie feels like. It feels like a movie that you put on and you're watching it, and then you're in it and you're like, I need to see how this ends. I need to see where this goes, because you do go on this journey with them. Because if there's anything in life we could all relate to, is experiencing death, right? And I think that this movie, shows that, and what that process looks like for a lot of people, and especially in the unique situation that they are in. This does a great job at that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a movie that is, it deals with loss in such an interesting way, where you can find the beauty in it, but you can also find yourself in it too. And
right,
while it doesn't really take its time, it gets right to the point of the film. And I think what I loved about it was also its length. It's sitting at just under an hour and a half, really.
Yeah.
It felt like I stayed long enough with these characters to understand them, to love them, to hate them, to do whatever the director wanted me to do with these characters. And I walked out going like, that was a great film. Like I enjoyed that,
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, you know what? For, again, our old fans, you already know this part, and our new ones, you probably memorized it from the beginning. But as always, you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday, and watch out throughout the week for our review episodes. We are at Tiff right now, so we'll be dropping these Tiff episodes non-stop. They're going to be coming at you left, right, and center. Check your watch. Check your TV at home.
Check your watch.
Because you never know. You might have like the podcast app on your watch. Check your trunk of your
car.
Oh, wait, podcast time.
Podcast app?
You never know.
Man,
you never know.
There's so much going on during
There's
Tiff.
so much behind the scenes work that we're doing for Tiff here. And to be up to date on all of that, make sure you're following us at The Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd, where we'll be logging all of our movies there. And don't forget, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Give us thumbs up and subscribe to us on YouTube. Join our Discord as well, and you can write into the show at hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca. It is also one of the best times of the year, and it's Lord of the Rings season, because usually towards the second half of the year, towards the end of the year, is when I watch Lord of the Rings. And guess what? Now we're getting brand new Lord of the Rings with the Rings of Power on Amazon Prime Video. So watch that, join our Discord, talk to us about it. We have our interviews up. We got a chance to go to the LA premiere of it as well. So let us know what you thought of our video about it, and let us know what you think about the Rings of Power. As always, you can catch a brand new episode, like I mentioned, of the show. And that was this time with the Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.